have, can you hear me without the mic? You okay with it? Okay. So tonight is a reorganizational meeting for the town, and also at the end we'll have a county meeting for 2013, as required by law. So we'll start tonight's meeting with the pledge for Sarah Wood from Junior Girls Masters 78.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, so good evening, and we'll start with some announcements. The Rhinebeck tax collector, the town tax collector has received the tax warrant and rolls from the county and will mail the tax bills out on January 25th. The taxes may be paid out without interest from February 1st through the 28th, and then 2% until 2% interest if you don't pay until March 31st. Okay. 3% interest until April 30th, and a 4% interest until May 31st. And then I get extra if you pay after that. So, just kidding. The town is recruiting a part-time seasonal coordinator for our summer recreation program. Please check with the town website for information. That's or you can call 876-3409. Item 3, there is a vacancy in the following committees and boards. Board of Assessment Review, we have 2 vacancies, and the chair. We also have vacancies for 2 people on the website committee, which is going to be very active over the coming year. We have vacancies in the Aging Committee, the Budget and Finance Committee, 2. The Conservation Advisory Board, we have 1 vacancy. Recreation, 1 vacancy. And the Rhinecliff Waterfront Committee, we have 4 vacancies, I guess. So you can call Town Hall 876-3409 for that. Town Hall will be closed for Martin Luther King's birthday on Monday, January 21st. We have a approval of the minutes from December 20th, special meeting, and there's a motion and second to approve.
Motion?
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, that's so moved. Okay, next item is a presentation from the Spain Agency from,
Tom, have
yeah.
you finished with announcements? 'Cause
Yeah.
I have a couple of announcements.
Okay, all
I'd
right.
like to make. First, if anybody is contemplating knee replacement, I would be happy to talk to them about what is involved. The second announcement is we have this workforce housing program at the Gardens. We are prepared to market units if any Rhinebeck resident or somebody connected with Rhinebeck is interested in the Gardens. We do have a subsidized program where units can be purchased below the offering price for qualified individuals. So if anybody here or in the audience is interested in finding out more about the program, our marketing agent is Hudson River Housing. Our town clerk can put anybody who is interested in touch with them. I think the Gardens office in town can also do the same. It is a good program, and we look forward to populating these units with people who are involved with Rhinebeck. There is a hierarchy of eligibility. Preferences will go to town employees, teachers, firemen, policemen, people who work in stores in Rhinebeck, people with relatives in Rhinebeck, residents of Dutchess County. So again, if anybody is interested in the gardens, we do have this program.
I got two, just real quick. The ice skating rink is open, so if the weather cooperates, we're going to leave the gate open when it's skatable, and you can just go in. You got to be out of there by 10:30 at night, though. The lights come on around 4:30. The other one is the dog park. We've gotten through pretty much through the planning board in Red Hook, so we'll be having a public meeting in February for anyone that's interested in working on the dog park. So,
I have some fencing for you, Bruce.
thank you, thank you.
Okay.
All right, we have another announcement, or, John, were there two more? Was that it? That's it, okay. All right, we have a presentation tonight from Spain Agency representing NYMER, and it's Brian Miles, and you're on. Okay, we don't have a microphone for you, but if you could stand close to that mic, it'd be great, on the table, okay? Just for the interest of the...
Now, I want to
Pin.
comment about the Commonwealth thing. Please don't.
Should we tell them that it's off the agenda? So
I think you ought to do that.
They want to stay?
Yeah, let me just say, one of the board members had put requested that an assault weapons resolution or discussion had been put on. It wasn't really discussed before that. It was a surprise to me, but it's not going to be on the agenda today. Some of you I told that to, but if there's going to be no comments to it today, then is there going to be any comments about it today, or are you going to wait till the next meeting, or?
I would like to put it on for the next meeting.
So we can put this up for discussion for the next meeting,
Yeah,
and in that case, we won't discuss it today.
right.
Okay, so just so you guys know, might be a meeting till 9 o'clock.
But you're welcome to stay.
Yeah, we won't be talking about it today, in that case. Okay? The fourth Monday is the, what is it?
28th.
28th. So the 28th will come up. Right. Mhm. I got some calls from the media about it, and they aren't here because I knew it wouldn't be on today also. I just couldn't control the comments of the board, so it's pretty clear it's not going to be part of the agenda. Okay? Okay? Monday the 28th, same time. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Thanks. Brian Miles, you're on. Thanks.
Thanks. Thanks for coming back.
I just want to hand a few things out, just a summary of where we left off last time.
Thank you.
Ooh, in color.
Hi, good evening. Brian Miles with Spain Agency, Rhinebeck, New York, and nice to see you again. We represent NYMER, the New York Municipal Insurance Reciprocal. And what I just handed out this evening was a summary of the proposal that we laid out a little over a month ago, and in terms of the pricing of the different coverage limits available for umbrella, as well as some local municipalities with umbrella limits that they carry. Just kind of wanted to open up. I know there's been some discussion back and forth about NYMER and the liability of NYMER, and I just was available to answer any questions that any board members might have.
We asked Mr. Miles back because at our last meeting, the last one of the year, there were some questions raised about coverage and about assessments that NYMER could make. And we selected selective until we could have the questions answered.
So there was no gap in coverage.
Right, we needed to vote on our insurance, so,
So one of the questions was, and I saw the YouTube video that it was December 20th meeting.
yes.
And one of the statements was made, and I think it concerned the board, that administrative hearings are excluded under NYMER. And that is totally incorrect. NYMER covers administrative hearings both under the EOC and the Division of New York State Labor. They have different endorsements on the policy to trigger coverage depending on what entity administrative hearing is held at. The reason for that is that an EOC hearing, they are not able to regulate fines as the New York State Division of Labor. So there's two coverage triggers under NYMER, and they cover both administrative hearings, and I think that was a misstatement at the last meeting. I think that concerned the board. So I just want to be clear that NYMER does cover that. And the other, I think, statement was made that I think concerned the board was, what happens if there's a big claim up in
Up and down the
New York
Hudson, right.
that could impact NYMER as a company. Well, NYMER purchases what they call reinsurance. So they layer their exposure off to different insurance companies above certain levels. So on a property claim, for example, there was a big claim upstate. NYMER's exposure as a company is limited to $250,000, and the rest is reinsured. You had a big liability claim, that exposure is limited to $650,000, and the rest is reinsured. So with NYMER being in business for 20 years, they've never had to issue an assessment or levy against the municipality. So I think NYMER's built up approximately $54 million of surplus to pay for those claims within their retention level, as well as collecting the appropriate premium per year from all its members. So they've slowly built up their surplus over the years. And they were, in the early years, when the municipality joined NYMER, they had a capitalization requirement, which was a higher percentage than it is today, to help build up the surplus of the company. So they were prudent and conservative in their funding approaches. And they have built up the surplus, and they have safeguards in place to mitigate any of those catastrophic claims that Uncle mentioned.
So while you could assess the towns, you feel like the $54 million is enough to ensure that you don't?
Correct. And, not only is $54 million, they're also collecting $30 million a year in premiums from all the different members. And that's enough to kind of pay for all your claims as you go throughout the year. And every year they seemingly add $3 or $4 million to the surplus, and it's grown up to $54 million over the years. And they've done so well. As a matter of fact, they've been giving back the money over the last 4 years to the members that have paid in their capitalization, on a return capitalization program. So while still maintaining an A rating by AM Best, they've been able to give back money to the members. And then so far they've given back all the money that members have paid in to help capitalize the company.
If I can ask you a couple of questions. The thing you passed out, this is what the umbrella amounts?
Yes, that piece of paper indicates the umbrella limits of the municipalities in Dutchess County.
And this other sheet, what breaks down the premium into property and boiler and
Yes, that's equipment, things like that, as well as public officials. And then that's a subtotal, and then there's 3 different options for umbrella limits.
now the breakdown though, why is that relevant to us? We're covered up to presumably the amount of the policy.
Yes, I was just
Okay, that's how
breaking
you
out the
get it.
premiums, yes.
Then I guess the other question I had, in comparing your rates to Selective, it looks like Selective was better, lower rates, up till about 3 years ago. And 3 years ago, NYMER rates are much lower. Are you aware of that? And why was NYMER more expensive after 3 years?
NYMER's rates are predicated on their history of just the municipal business. The rates are not predicated on market conditions or hard market or soft market. And I think prior to this, we were in what they call a soft insurance market, where the pricing was low. Private insurers are trying to build capital, build surplus by premiums, investing in it. And sometimes these insurance companies have different missions to generate premium. So I think we were in a soft market cycle, so the traditional marketplace was lower in premium. NYMER's continually grown through that time period. They've written a lot of accounts. In this particular case, maybe Selective was more competitive a few years ago. But NYMER's rates, they look at them every year, and they see how they're doing as a company, and they have a rate for their specific group.
Right, for the last 3 years, NYMER is more competitive, lower rates than
Yes.
Selective, which to me means we gotta watch rates and shop it quite frequently.
And I did do a little research because I was asked, what would be the appropriate limit for umbrella. And I did check with NYMER. They insure 687 municipalities. They've been in business 20 years, probably had over 8,000 insurance renewals. And they've had 11 claims in the history of the company that have exceeded $1 million, none of them going over $2 million. And some of the things that I'd like to review with the town are certain statutes protect the town from liability. One is the town's prior notice laws. We'd like to take a look at that, make sure that's up to speed. There's other laws, recreational use statute that grants community to landowners, not only municipalities, but private landowners, for people coming on your property, the horseback ride, or sleigh ride, or ice skate. And that's been a big help for municipalities. And the other one is the snow plowing law called 1103B, which provides limited liability for municipalities while they're snow plowing. In order for a municipality to be liable in a snow plowing incident, you have to be considered reckless behavior behind the wheel. So there's been
Didn't we
a-
make a decision at the last meeting
To go to
to
510.
change the umbrella?
Yes, and we also asked for a recommendation.
Yeah, but it sounds like 510 is even generous.
Yes, from our experience, it would be.
Is
And
that
I
what
see
we
Red
voted
Hook-
for last time?
That's what we
510?
settled on, but Red Hook is 3.6.
Well, I was just trying to give you a little background of why, so there's certain things that help protect the municipality versus some of the bigger exposures that other people face that.
One of my concerns is the difference between us and Red Hook is that we have the waterfront, we have a bridge that crosses over a the railroad tracks. You know, you have a bridge that could potentially go over top of 2 trains at one time, which would be 600 people, and a ramp that goes down to the riverfront, and then we have docks and so on, which Red Hook doesn't really have as a town park, and not many communities do along the
No, it's a
river.
nice facility you have there.
It's unique, but the liability is huge. We may have a large boat that is chartered and comes up to our dock, and 100 people go onto it, and that goes out to the river, something happens, and there's some sort of liability there for us.
The liability would probably end once they board the boat, but I think the liability would probably be on the dock in a trip and fall situation.
It just seemed to me like we had unique scenarios here that were beyond a lot of the Dutchess County ones.
But we insure a lot of riverfront towns all through Westchester.
And then that's my second comment, is that we're a membership of a group of townships that are Westchester towns, in which case, if we had a hurricane that created a substantial amount of damage in those towns, and we are somehow responsible in the funding of that as a member of this.
Yeah. Well, as I explained earlier, that's a good question. If there was a hurricane, and we've had 3 so far, with my around the last 4 years, that's considered one occurrence. So we've had multiple claims through a lot of the towns and villages, on these multiple storms, and that's one occurrence. That's one $250,000 hit to NYMER. The rest is reinsured. So you'd have to have a hurricane coming through every day of the week that really have an impact on Niagara's financials, because it would be one $250,000 hit to NYMER.
I'm comfortable with the 510. I think that's substantial.
With the pool, we have probably more risk than a lot of towns, with the swimming and everything. And we did have a fatality years ago in the pool. Is the 510 adequate with that, do you think? I think it is, but
Yeah, we've had, unfortunately, some instances where we've seen some fatalities in recreation, and we feel comfortable with that one.
Thank you for that.
Okay, appreciate it, thanks.
Can we take it out of order that we've had further discussion? Maybe we can vote on what we want to do. Because I know later on the agenda, there's an action item, but maybe we can take action.
Certainly, if you want to suspend the rules and
Yeah.
take a vote on that, certainly.
Where is it on town liability insurance contract? One,
Yeah,
and I would move that we place the insurance with at the umbrellas that you voted on at the last meeting.
and just, Elizabeth, if you know off the top of your head, was that a $12,000 savings, or what was the savings?
20.
$20,000 savings. Okay, I'll second it.
Okay, it's motion and second. Any comments? My comment is, I'm not so sure. The $20,000 is fine, but the exposure might be substantially more. I'm a little bit concerned about it at this point in time. I'm not just confident that it is the right move. I've done a substantial amount of background on it. The last time we upped it with an independent insurance auditor who recommended Spectrum? No, wait, what's the name of it? Selective, I'm sorry. And so I'm going to oppose it at this point in time, so. Any further comments? Okay, we have motion and second. All in favor, aye.
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 And I'll oppose, and it is so moved. Returning to the regular order of business, the reorganizational meeting.
Thank you
Okay,
for
thanks,
coming back
Brian.
up.
We're going to provide coverage for the 14th, is that what you'd like us to do?
Yes, bind for the 14th?
And you said you got an extension to the 14th, or you want us to go back to the 1st, or
Well, I don't know how we would,
normally, if they extended it to the 14th, we would just pick up coverage?
we have a per-day coverage. We would have to terminate our coverage with Selective and start it with you. And I think that's something we'll let our bookkeeper, who's our business manager, know, and we'll have her call your office, Shelley Day. We'll call you tomorrow to coordinate it,
Yeah, sure.
so that we just don't want any coverage suspended.
No, we'll be able to work that out.
Thank you.
So John, are you going to talk to Shelley
No.
and tell her that she has to cancel Selective and find out from Selective to what date they have insured us?
They're,
And then call Brian and you would pick up that day forward.
Okay.
Thank you.
thank you, Brian.
Okay. All right. Business before the board is a resolution establishing the order of business for the town board meetings. That'll be tab 2 in your book. With motion and second.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So move. Item 2, resolution establishing the 2013 meetings and times and locations. That'll be tab 3. So motion and second.
Motion.
And all in favor, aye.
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 Opposed? So moved. Item 3 is a motion establishing the holiday schedule. Motion and second.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
About the holidays we're talking about?
Yeah.
Are these the same as current?
Yeah. Same as current, but the Good Friday discussion is listed in here.
Right.
So,
So that may be changed depending on where we come out on
yeah.
Item 4, is that all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Item 4 is a motion authorizing the supervisor to file the 2012 Supervisor's Annual Report to the State Comptroller's Office. Motion and second.
Motion.
Second?
All in favor, aye.
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 Item 5 is it's a matter of law to appoint the deputy supervisor by the supervisor, which should be Councilman Washburn. Item 6 is resolution designating the budget officers. And that would, I believe, is a matter of law also. A rule of law, isn't it? You know anything different than that, or no?
You don't have to vote on it.
I don't, as far as I've learned, yeah.
Oh, you just designate.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I remember this in the past.
No.
And what does the budget officer do?
Well, the supervisor's the town budget officer,
Right.
and then the deputy supervisor would sign in the absence of.
But you have Bruce here too. What is Bruce doing? I thought you're doing the preliminary budget.
Yeah, but he's the deputy supervisor, and he would, it's just designating the budget officers. So, it's
What
not.
he's, I think what he's saying is if he couldn't do the budget office, the
Oh, okay, so you would
responsibility,
fill it
then
in.
I would do it.
And it allows you to sign in his absence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
But that's a different resolution.
and item 7 would follow through on the same.
Right.
Item 8 would be designating the official newspapers to the town, which we have as the Daily Freeman, Kingston Daily Freeman, and the Journal, is it?
Did you miss one? You missed signing checks?
Well, that's the same as basically,
I'm sorry?
it's really the same as 6.
Okay.
Yeah. You guys have the Observer down for the,
No, Tom, that's actually new. I thought you guys might want to discuss it
okay,
as a backup.
yeah. What do we have previously, the Freeman
For
and,
2012 was the
Hudson Valley.
Freeman only
okay,
for 2012.
No, we
No.
had the
But the-
Freeman and the Hudson
Oh,
Valley
and the Hudson Valley
News.
News, okay, so they're not around.
leave it the same?
They're not around?
I thought they weren't around anymore. Or at least we're not getting it around here.
How about, yeah,
The Observer's our new local paper. I think that would be great.
I agree.
For those of us at the end of the table, we cannot hear your discussion. We got to talk louder.
Observer and the Freeman, but
Right.
I think, I'm okay with going with the Freeman because it's less expensive, but when we need to reach out for a broader, I want us to go with the Poughkeepsie Journal just because it has much more coverage and it is local for the county, like when we're looking for positions to be filled and stuff. So I'm for when we just have to post stuff, going with the Freeman, but I want to be able to have that option when we need a wider.
well, why don't we put 3 on, then, the Journal, the Freeman, and the Observer?
It doesn't mean we have to use all 3 for public notice, do we, John? Okay, that'd be great.
I don't know,
Is everyone okay with that?
I'm good with it.
No, we do have to use all 3. If we designate them as the official newspapers, then we've got to do all 3 for public notices, because that's what we're saying. You can't expect people to go out and buy the 3 different papers to see which one we posted it in.
Okay, fair enough, Bruce. I'm just bringing that up for in the future when we may have to go.
I would, well, then
I'm
I'll,
okay doing all 3, but
it'll cost
Once-
us,
Yeah.
it'll cost
Yeah,
us
I don't
more.
want to pay for all 3.
Right.
Let's do the 2, and we can always run an ad and pay for it.
Got it. Okay,
So we'll do the Journal and the Freeman?
the Observer and the Freeman, as
Okay.
listed here.
Good with you guys?
Fine.
All in favor, aye?
I like I want to support the local paper.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, it's so moved?
We didn't motion and
Did we?
second
Okay.
that?
I thought
Motion.
we-
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Good. Item 9 is designating the official banks as Citizens Bank and M&T Bank. Motion and second.
Motion.
second,
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
I'm going to vote no,
Why is that?
because we don't have any money. I know the town clerk has money in the Citizens Bank, but the rest of us don't.
Right.
And
What do you
Yeah.
mean the rest of us?
according to the bank accounts, we don't have any money in Citizens anymore.
I
The
thought
town
that there
board-
was the town
Town
clerk.
clerk account is the only.
I said that, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I heard you.
But,
Where is Citizens Bank?
It's right by Stop and Shop.
yeah.
Oh.
So-
The key bank, the old key
You're
bank?
right, right.
So I've got a problem with having all our eggs in one basket. So
So,
that's why I vote no.
well, would you vote to put more in, a different bank, or I don't understand the,
Well, we should be checking the banks every year to find out what they're paying. We should even be checking quarterly or at least half, semi-annually. And we should be going with those banks, but we shouldn't be in one in case it gets in, completely in one, in case it gets into some kind of a problem. And I know there's insurance and everything else, but if we don't have money in it, we're not diversified at all. So that's why I have a problem with this.
Well, we could, as I'm told, we're going through an emotion that's kind of ceremonial, but we could always change this, as I
Okay.
believe throughout the year. If we find something, we could always change that.
Okay, well, you had enough votes.
Yeah.
That's
No, I'm
fine.
just saying.
Yeah.
you're reminding us that we have to diversify and split up
Check
our,
rates.
well, not only check rates, but that we have to minimize our risk by having money. That's a good reminder.
You want to add anything to it, or? I mean, I would add Bank of Millbrook if you wanted to add something. We have two of our,
I wouldn't add anything. If somebody has a lower rate and we want to go with them,
We'll
let's
just
talk about
add it
that.
then. Okay.
But I think we do get some free stuff from MNT.
Mhm.
So I think, I think we've been concentrating our stuff in MNT on purpose, because we think we do get some stuff from them.
Right. Okay. So all in,
That's
fa-
interesting.
so all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? And
Nay.
one, and that's so moved.
Okay.
Item 10 is a motion to appoint the town planner, which is, we have, yeah, let me just read it, though. I want to see what we have here. Yeah, Planners East.
Motion.
Second.
And, all in favor, aye?
Well, Michael, is this the same rates as previous?
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Item 10 is a resolution appointing the consulting engineer, as Tom Mannix.
Motion.
Second? Any discussion?
Second, we need to determine, what we did last year was not to exceed $5,000. Do we want to plug in a certain cap?
We need an hourly rate and we need a cap.
Well, it's the $100 in the budgeted amount. But where he actually draws is from the capital projects,
Right.
which varies. I don't think we spent anything on the,
We've spent some money outside that.
I would stick with the 5,000 and keep the rate at $100.
I think we lowered the budget amount this year,
yeah, whatever we lowered it, that's why I was saying
Okay,
with
to
the
the
budget.
budget amount, okay.
and it's $100 an hour.
Mhm.
And I think we have it at 3,500, I think that's the amount.
Okay, so not to exceed.
Not to exceed the
35.
budgeted amount. It might be 25. We should check.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Just a question, Bruce, does that mean, though, that if he's working on a capital project, that 35 does not apply,
Yeah,
or does it?
it hadn't,
Oh, okay.
because the 35 was based on what we had built into the regular budget, the planned items, which was the general fund and the highway.
Okay, so this would be 35. not to exceed 35.
Do you want
But-
the amount now? You want me to look it
Well,
up?
but
or-
just, I mean, the not to exceed would be on any professional services. I think it's assumed that it's the budget amount with any professional services. I'm not sure why, the rate I agree with, we should put the rate in, but the not to exceed.
Well, every year, we've always had a cap on what we're spending, so this year
I know,
we're not.
but we don't have the cap with everything else, so let's be consistent.
Okay.
Yeah, do we have a cap on?
Should all the other appointments say not to exceed the budgeted amount?
No.
Because I think this is unique, you know, what the history has been on this.
So moved?
Yeah,
Did we approve that yet?
did we vote? Yes, we're done.
Okay. Okay. Item 12, resolution appointing the planning and zoning consulting engineer, which would be retaining Morris Associates for the year 2013. And I do have you guys all have a schedule.
Next page.
Okay, so is there a motion and second?
Motion.
Second,
Any discussion?
a question, Michael, is this the same as previous?
Yes.
No increase?
Any further? All in favor, aye? You have something to say? Okay, I thought
Could
you-
you tell?
No, I'm not sure. I thought I heard something.
Michael, are you happy with their services? Is that something I can ask
Yeah.
publicly? Okay. You're happy with their services? Okay.
Okay. Any further? Okay. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Item 13 is a resolution appointing the planning and zoning attorney, which would be John Lyons, at a rate of $120 an hour. And He's volunteered a substantial amount of time for the town on a number of issues, and I want to just mention that.
And he's still volunteering.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a lot of time.
yeah.
I'm just reading though his letter here, the letter talks about 125.
He has 125.
Oh, he does?
Yes.
You're right. Amend that to $125 an hour. Motion second?
Motion?
Do we have a second first? Second? I'll second.
Second.
Okay.
Is this the same letter as last year?
This is this year.
John,
Well,
do you know? Or if not, I would like to read it through.
It says 2010, so it looks like it's the same letter as last year. The dates are.
It's consistent with 2011 and 12.
I don't know how I got 120.
That's a mistake, it's not a problem.
Again, maybe we can just hold this over so I can read these in.
Do you want to vote on it?
I'm comfortable, I know it's the same. Yeah, I mean,
All in favor, aye?
aye.
Aye. Opposed?
At
I
125.
I
At
abstain.
125.
At 125?
Yes.
Yeah.
I abstain too, because the expense, we negotiated this year, last year. Right? So
I
I
don't-
think the
I'll
rate, I have
abstain.
no problem with the rate, I just want to make sure that
It looks like
we're
it's,
not bound to use any attorney on anything, that we need complete discretion as to who we use for any legal matter. And I know that was put into previous retainer agreements, I just want to make sure it's carried forward.
well, it's passed, and Joe, I'm sure, will review it as well.
So move? Yeah.
Well, you voted yes.
I did vote for it. Yeah.
So that's, you
Okay.
got enough.
Item 14 is a resolution to approve Gellert and Klein as the town attorney. Motion and second.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, I think we're gonna hold this over if we could. I personally am pushing to make a change on that, and I have an interview I'd like to set up this coming week, and I think we should be able to make a decision by the next meeting.
What was their rate?
165.
Joe, you have any comments? I don't know what your interview is, because
Well, I
haven't-
think there's been some changes at Gellert in terms of staffing. So I think we do have to think through what we want to do with respect to representation. One of the attorneys who we did use is no longer at Gellert.
2 attorneys.
Right, and I was going to say another one who we used on labor stuff from time to time is no longer there. So I think we ought to hold it over and think about what we want to do.
Now, the interview is with you? Or with?
No, I'm gonna try and get the whole board, or as many
Oh.
of us that can make it.
No, is this?
Joe may be able to join us on the telephone.
Is this, I didn't know about this, so.
Well, we have about 6 people who sent in applications, and most of them would not lower their rate.
Is this the ones from October 15th
Mhm.
deadline? So the October 15th deadline attorneys, we're going to do interviews for them?
Yes,
Okay.
for those who
All
will
right.
lower
Okay.
their rate.
Well, I'm glad
For
to be,
some, I don't
I'm
think
happy to
we-
be a member of the board, and, I didn't know you were following through on this, so. By the way, I'm the supervisor, okay? So, thanks for letting me know about it, and
Oh, I was gonna let
just
you know as
give me a
soon as
date
we
when you're
were-
doing the
will
interviews,
do.
okay?
Happy to do it.
All right. So you guys want to hold over Gellert and Klein?
It's on here as a holdover.
Okay, sure.
It's
Motion-
on the agenda as a holdover.
So
But
motion,
not the resolution.
right.
The resolution says continue.
Right.
Okay.
Are you part of that interview too, Bruce, or no?
I will be, I
Okay,
guess.
all right. Would you ask to be on it?
Well,
I was gonna
Gina
let
said
everyone know.
we're all in it.
All right. So what do you want to do?
We're continuing.
I think we should be be able to make a decision by next meeting.
Well, we're going to hold,
Over whether we make it by the next meeting or not, what difference does it make? We went a whole year without having an official attorney. We never voted last year, so I don't think there's any magic to next meeting. When we're ready to come up with what we want to do, bring it up.
So we're not voting on this resolution?
well, we got to have a lawyer.
No, I would defer.
Now.
Well, we would continue to use Gellert until we decide not
So what
to.
the-
Well, are you happy with the resolve of this resolution
Until further notice, it says.
on an as-needed basis?
On an as-needed basis until further notice, yeah, I think it's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah, I think we can pass this resolution, but with the understanding that we are going to interview attorneys and decide what we want to do.
Okay,
I mean, Tom, in fairness, we have talked about our tax certiorari, you know.
absolutely.
Yeah, so.
But
and
I
our
didn't,
Our
I
attorney's
wasn't,
gone.
I wasn't
Yeah.
aware of interviews happening next week.
Oh, well, I,
That's news to me.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
is
know if it's
news.
news to you, but it is news to me. So,
I don't
to
think,
keep it
has anything
simple?
been scheduled?
No, of course not. And the minute it is, everyone will know.
I hope we'll be considered our schedules ourselves, and we can comply with the, agree on a date for these things, so,
I hope
okay,
so.
all right.
Everyone that can make it will make it, I'm sure.
All right, so we are holding over Gellert and Klein, as we always have, at a rate of 165 an hour. Motion a second. I'll just redo this whole thing.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Is that clear enough?
Nay.
All right. Item 15 is a resolution approving the renewal of the EAP contract. That's
This
the
is for our-
Employee Assistance Program, that's the,
Testing.
right. Motion a second.
Motion.
Second?
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
And did this fee stay the same? Does anyone know? $800 for the year?
I don't know if it's the same.
I can ask Shelley. She's back there. Should,
We have the fire contracts, but I think, did we approve these already? Do you know, John?
I don't think so.
No? All right. Item 16 is a motion approving the fire department contracts. Those are on tab 17.
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion on those?
No.
Are these the same as last year?
These are the same as what we discussed in our budget
Right.
hearings. These are the amounts, and
These contracts are signed, by the way, already. So we did
They've
approve
been
them.
done.
One of them, Tom signed one of them. I'm not sure why. That's probably my mistake.
Elizabeth, I understand the dollar amounts you're saying are in the budget, but do we know if any of the boilerplate language has changed? When do you know, is there any changes in language?
Fortunately, I wasn't involved in the scenario this year. So, quite frankly, I don't have an opinion. I would hope that it was negotiated with the village government in regards to the Rhinebeck Fire Department, at least.
Mhm.
As far as Hillside and Rhinebeck is concerned, I would hope that the commissioners were involved in the negotiation process.
Would it make sense to hold this over, and then maybe John can tell us if it's the same contract as last year?
We had the hearing day on the budget, and Hillside was here for that. But the other two are not.
I think
Right.
Tom signed one of these contracts
It
already.
was the Hillside one
Yeah,
that they were
and-
here for, right?
And
we
you've
did
gone
approve
over
that.
it with everyone, and.
We were here for that.
Yeah.
They were here for that.
Yeah, they
During the
came-
budget, right, yeah.
So you're confident,
Oh,
and
they're the same. We didn't
we didn't change anything.
increase at all, no.
Well, we hope we didn't change anything. Question is, unless somebody actually reads it and
I don't think that this is something the clerk should be responsible for. I'll just say that.
And we get a high school kid to do it. Public service,
Appropriate for me to ask if, in fact, the bond for the fire truck was involved with the, as well as the ambulance?
Well, the ambulance was not, because it was bought.
Right.
We
okay.
cut the ambulance out, but there is, I think, another year or two obligation with the truck for $9,000. And that was agreed upon in '06 or '05 or something.
Right, okay, so the bond was there.
Right,
I'm a little concerned about the fact that the ambulance was cut out because
it was bought, yeah.
it
Yeah, I
was
know,
bought.
I know.
However, the expenses for the ambulance and the ambulance service
Right,
will continue.
right.
So the fact that that $7,500, I think I'm right, is a $7,500 was cut out.
I think it was 35 point, I think. I don't think it was,
we raised it to 75 last year.
okay,
Because that expense obviously will continue, because they obviously have to keep continuing to purchase equipment.
Is it as
Obviously,
simple
the
as-
cost of the ambulance is done, but I'm concerned that you cut out $7,500. Again, I wasn't involved in that scenario,
Yeah.
so I can't.
Is it as simple as calling the fire chiefs and asking them if this was the same contract that they submitted last year?
why don't we just hold it over till next meeting? Is
I'm
that,
gonna ask Jim, because Jim, I guess, is the signatory on the village one. Do you know if it's the same form as I?
There's been no changes to the contract whatsoever.
No changes, so it is the same form.
The contract will roll over and be in place as it was last year.
Okay, so the fact that you tell me that the $7,500 for the ambulance cut out concerns me.
right, well, let's hold it over then, okay? Let's find out. I think,
Well, it's,
I mean, that $7,500 is based on, I don't know if you all recall, when I was here last year and we talked about it at the budget scenario, I explained to you in depth how important that $7,500 was, not just for the cost of the ambulance, it was the cost of the equipment
Right.
as we go forward, to bolster the scenario in regard to the ambulance services that we provide to our community. So the fact that you told me that was cut out,
I believe it was, because I'm putting it in this scenario with the truck, that this thing was paid off. We'll have to review it and go over it,
okay,
okay?
the truck's still here for 9,000.
yeah.
Do you have the,
That bond is in place, obviously, so that doesn't go away. But the fact that, if in fact you took the $7,500 out of that budget, that, I'm not sure
That would need to be negotiated.
I mean, these guys, the cost of the ambulance is simply not the cost of the ambulance, obviously, as you're probably well aware.
right,
And Wayne, that would only be in the village of Rhinebeck Fire Department contract, is that correct?
No, because the town of Rhinebeck, the village of Rhinebeck provides a significant amount of service to the town.
No, but I mean, of our three contracts, that would only be applicable to one of the three, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay,
But you have not only, you have a town protective district
Right.
that
right,
the ambulance services.
got it.
The Fire Protection District is the
Correct.
fourth district.
Right.
The
I think in fact, I mean, it's been determined that most of the calls are in the town anyways, with the
Exactly.
ambulance. So,
And I-
You mean in
when
the
I
vil-
came
in
to
the
you last
village?
year at the budget meeting,
Oh, the
I
town-
explained to you the
Ferncliff,
significance of,
that vehicle runs more in the town
Ferncliff.
than it
and-
does in the village.
Right, and
Not Ferncliff, but.
okay.
yeah.
so I would be very concerned with the fact that you cut out that $7,500.
Okay.
I hope that didn't happen.
Tom, will you review these with our attorney, or how will you handle it?
Well, let me see what Shelley has, and then we'll look into it.
I would state that the $7,500 cannot be cut out of the contract without negotiating that with the village.
Right,
It's a
Right.
valid contract.
right. Okay, we'll follow up on it.
Well, I'm assuming we didn't generate this contract.
That's correct.
Contract was generated last year, signed by myself and the supervisor.
Right, so,
And that contract cannot be changed.
Correct.
without negotiation.
We'll hold this over then.
Can
We don't have the same scenario with the other fire departments, though, just so you know. So, except for the village fire department, we'll approve Hillside and Rhinecliff. Motion and second.
Motion?
Second?
Second.
All in favor, aye. We'll hold that over till next meeting. Okay, John?
It was cut out.
Is it?
It's not in here.
It was cut out.
Steve, what concerns me is that you were considering the cost of the ambulance. I mean, you still have to service the ambulance. You still have to
Men
equip the
approved it in 2012, but
Right.
it wasn't even
Right,
input in 2013.
yeah. Gotcha. Yeah.
I hear you, Wayne, thank you.
Good point. Glad you're here. So we'll follow up with it.
Hillside and Rhinecliff are approved.
So you'll make a note that we have to look at our budget to make sure that we're,
So Hillside and
it's-
Rhinecliff are approved.
Hillside and Rhinecliff are approved. We have to either amend the budget. This is not a signed contract by either municipality, so we'll just follow up on it. Okay? Yeah.
16.
All right, so item 17 is a resolution approving the Village of Rhinebeck police contract. And that's on tab 18. And
Did you receive a letter from Lisa on that?
we have a renewal of the contract for 2013, substantially the same as 2012
taken out.
Essentially, except for the mileage.
for mileage.
The mileage figure had changed and hadn't heard from the federal government.
Okay.
So what is the mileage change to?
Bruce, what is the,
I never saw anything.
I didn't either. I didn't either.
So it's going up or down?
I believe it went up.
Is our budget the same as last year on that?
No, it went up on the ambulance or
On the,
police?
no, on the police.
Yeah, police stayed the same.
All right, so the police budget, we have budgeted the same as last year. Whether or not the fees are different is a whole different story, but, okay.
The only change that we had is because of the change in the federal guidelines for mileage reimbursement.
Okay. Let's have a motion and second on that first,
Motion?
and then,
Second.
any discussion?
There's no contract attached, so what we're approving is what was approved last year.
Exactly, except for the mandated change for mileage by the state, which would be nothing we can do about anyways, is what we're changing.
Do we have a sense of how much that's going to change our budget?
It won't be much,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, we don't have to change.
Well, it won't change our budget at all.
Tell them to drive less.
It won't be, yeah.
Well, what are you laughing at?
They drive as much as you ask them to.
Yeah.
Set the hours.
Yeah, he keeps below budget, and, you know, it's a bargain.
No,
It's,
I-
you know, it's a
I-
gift.
I totally agree.
So, all in favor, aye.
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 Opposed? That's so moved. So, appointments on tab number 19 include items 18 through 37. Essentially, these are appointments like the record manager, the tax collector, they're just reappointments from last year, nothing new. So I'll have a motion and second to approve items 18 through 37.
Motion.
Second,
And any discussion on any of those?
although our clerk
For
is
what?
new.
37, just one page over, 37.
Um,
Just the committees, the
Yes,
Board of Assessors, so on and so forth.
I'm sorry, we're going through the building inspector?
Right. Through the other page to item 37.
And who's going to be the chair? Oh, Bob Ellsworth staying on as chair for the Thompson Area Welfare.
Anybody one more time, or?
Yeah, just,
Okay.
the Conservation Advisory Board, don't we have Donaldson on there? You don't have to mention him?
He was appointed, he's not being reappointed because he was appointed last year for 2
Okay,
years.
so his term
I
continues.
I checked my boards.
Now, the Budget, Finance, and Control Committee, didn't we discuss disbanding that until we get the audit back? Or making it inactive? It's basically non-functioning?
I didn't discuss that. Did I discuss it? Did you guys discuss it?
I can't hear you.
You guys discussed disbanding the board, the
The
finance and?
Budget, Finance, and Control, it was sent in the email that Joe sent to you. I don't know if you read the email.
The email,
Yeah, you disbanded, there is no functioning one, and indeed, we do it ourselves.
And same thing with the Rhine Cliff Advisory.
I spoke that, since I'm the liaison to Rhine Cliff, I followed up on all of my boards. Rhine Cliff is not active right now. They don't wish to be active. I spoke to Pam about it. It's my recommendation that we not dissolve the committee, that we leave the structure in place so that we don't have to redo a resolution, and we make it inactive in case we need to charge them with something. It's there. They've fulfilled, they started because of the comp plan and concerns of, the T&D within the hamlet, and the drainage issues came later. So it's my recommendation that it be made inactive with the resolution in place until a time, if we want to charge them to do anything, or they need to become active again.
all right.
And I agree with the same thing with the Budget and Finance.
Well, I got the email. It's the meeting that you and Joe and Elizabeth had a meeting on to talk about these things. I wasn't part of that meeting, and I don't think they were in a town board meeting, so.
Well, it's a caucus.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you guys had your own meeting, it's unlawful, but
No, it's not.
you talked about town business at a meeting?
As a
it's not
caucus, we can
unlawful?
democratic caucus about,
Disbanding committees? Okay.
it's a caucus. The Senate does it, the Congress does it, and the county government does it.
You guys talked about structuring committees for the town, and it's not open meetings?
That's why
Okay.
we're talking about it.
Well, we are
That's
now.
why we brought
You
it.
check with
The-
was it Bob Freeman, see what advice he gives you. We can check with
Okay, all right, I will. So,
totally
so what are you
legal.
doing? You disbanding it or no?
We're
Is there-
making it inactive, is my suggestion.
So we need a motion for this.
Well, during the budget process, we talked about having a budget, and it was raised by someone in the public about having a budget committee to advise us on the budget, and within our budget workshops, there was no interest, and it was said that that's our duty. Is that correct?
That was what Joe said. Yeah, I remember that. I don't agree, but,
Have you met with this committee at all over the last year?
no, the committee hasn't been active in the last couple of years, and there were some reasons why it wasn't active. But the committee came up with the updates to the procurement, came up with the ethics law, came up with the investment policy, came up with the audit of the financial office processes, came up with a whole bunch of different things. And then it kind of went by the wayside. It's time to revisit some of those things based on the controllers. I agree with you that it should be inactive right now, but I don't believe that it should be disbanded.
I totally agree,
And-
so
and-
that's all I said, was make it inactive. That was what I suggested.
And I'm fine with that because we have nothing to charge them with right now.
Okay.
But I'm not fine with, they should just go away because that's what we do, because that isn't what we do.
No, that isn't what I said. Bruce.
No,
I'm
no, but
glad you
that was
clarified
what was
that.
said.
So what we would not do is,
With doing all of these except for the Budget and Finance, which I would like to designate as inactive.
So you want to abolish it, or?
No, just make it inactive. When we have something to charge them with, then we appoint
Because
people.
I'm reading the email, it says abolish, so, okay, so there needs to be a motion and a second to what you want to do,
Okay.
okay?
I motion that we approve the following as you suggested, with the exception of the Budget and Finance and Control Committee, which will be named inactive at this point until such time as we need them, like when the audit comes through. Or we need to charge them with something. Motion.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, aye?
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
Now, are we taking a motion to make the rack inactive?
It's not on here because it is inactive.
But we just took a motion to make another committee inactive.
It's just a point of clarification. I have it as a vote to approve resolutions 201318 through 201336.
I don't know what that means.
Well,
I
items,
can't even hear him, so,
Well, it's
I have it
through
as a motion to
10,
approve items 18
37.
through,
37.
well, through 37 with the exception of 36, pulling 36 out of that.
Well,
That's
making it
correct.
inactive, it's not abolishing it, it's making it inactive, which I don't know, you know.
Yeah, what
Wait.
John's saying is if we don't vote on it, then it's the same as rack. Is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying that you're voting to approve
A block
20
of things.
a block of resolutions, and any resolution that you want to take on its own, you pull out of that
Then we'll
block.
pull that out and do
Okay,
it
so that's
separately.
pulled out. So everything else in items 18 through 37 are approved, right?
Right.
Okay. So, and then whatever your vote is on item 36, is that okay?
Yes.
Right.
John, when you say through 37, I just, is the last one we're approving is appointment to Recreation Committee?
Yes.
That's the last one.
Yes.
Mhm.
And then does Elizabeth need to make a motion about the Rhine Cliff Advisory Council?
There's nothing before you about
Okay,
that?
got it.
Okay, so then what's the motion with respect to the budget?
I make a motion that we label it as inactive until such time in the future we need to task them with something.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Sure. So
Just to revisit the RAC, Pam Richardson, our attorney, advised me that there was no procedure adopted for the purpose of dissolving the committee, so that we could not put it on the agenda and it would be inactive. There are no members in it right now. So that's why it's not on the agenda.
I
All
don't
right.
think we have any members in the other one.
No, we don't.
Okay.
All right, so moving on to item 38 is resolution appointing the town board liaisons, which is your tab 20. Motion and second.
Motion?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, this,
It's a lot of
I
discussion.
disagree with it. I don't understand why you're appointing me to the zoning board of appeals. I haven't done that before. Gina has.
I wish to
It's new to
continue.
me, and I got enough to do with affordable
Okay.
housing, which is gonna be very active.
You like-
and
you wanna-
rather historic.
You're good with that?
I like it.
Okay. So at this, well, anything else?
Well, the other thing for me is, I think Gina, or somebody else wanted waterfront committee.
I'm willing to help you on that. I'll take that if you don't want it, Joe, and to give you a break on that, Bruce, if you want.
Yeah, I mean, the issue with waterfront committee is they have an active grant that they're driving,
Okay,
and they're really focused on it, and they need somebody to work with them that's going to be active.
okay, can I call on you for help when I need it?
Yeah.
So we're moving from Joe to Gina, both
Oh, wait a minute.
ZBA
I'm
and
not finished yet.
waterfront committee?
Go ahead,
I
Joe.
guess.
You're taking the building department away from me. I have worked with Ed, I've worked on the fee schedule. It does involve from time to time legal issues or things that a lawyer could be helpful. So I would propose that I keep the building department.
I'm basing these based upon comments from board members. I'm just, Bruce has been a senior board member, and I just think he had an interest in that. So we think that's what the move was made for.
Bruce, why in particular are you interested in building department?
It's diversifying his past experience.
Well, to be honest with you, I've been thinking, based on your note from today, why do we have liaisons to officials and boards? I disagree with the lawyer qualification part of it, because future town boards are not necessarily going to have attorneys on them. And I don't think that's the right thing. But I have been pondering whether it really makes sense to have liaisons to some committees or some boards, and whether we're influencing or interfering with them. I thought you made a reasonable argument that if they have an issue, they can bring it to the board, and they should. So I am concerned about that, but on the same point, I think boards need a focal point to be able to go to when they need help. And I'm not necessarily sure that that's a liaison. So,
Let me tell you why I think for building you do need liaison. We decided that fees ought to go up. Well, somebody had to put that together to ask the building inspector to do a comparison of our fees with other towns to come up with something. What I did is implement it, had it typed up and presented it to the board. So a liaison can serve that function. With respect to a lawyer, you may not have a lawyer in the future, but you might as well utilize what you have now. From time to time, questions come up where the building inspector feels he's being horsed around. And needs somebody to talk to as to whether he is being horsed around, when he should go to John Lyons, when it's worthwhile to spend money. So I do think you want a liaison with the building department. Again, the same thing with planning, but again, the liaison should never express an opinion on a particular issue. That is for the board, that is for the building inspector, that it's their decision, not a liaison decision. But I would like to continue with building.
I also think that the ethics board should be not one person assigned to that. I think that should be an arm's length committee that is allowed to work on their own, with all of us weighing in on assignments to it and appointments to it.
Yeah, that's I agree with that. I think as a liaison, I think if they need to convey information back to the board, that's just like the planning board and the zoning board. They're an autonomous authority, and there should be no input by anybody from the board of how to act or what to think. But so it's sort of an arm's length type of a liaisonship, and really I wouldn't attend anything unless they just let them know to, where the communication channel would be. Basically, that's what that is for, in my mind, for the ethics board.
And the first draft that I was sent, Tom, too, I thought I was reassigned to cemetery. Is that not correct?
Well, I was going to stay on just to finish a few things, but are you interested in it?
Yeah,
And,
I kind
okay,
of like that. But one thing I don't see on here is rec, and I think that's going to be an issue.
Well, rec is the issue. I've talked about it with a couple of yous, and I want to see who's up for the par on that. And so I'm looking for volunteers for rec. If anybody wants to be the rec liaison, by, I think it's by by town resolution that you're actually the chair of the committee. So there are a lot of rules with recreation. You have to attend, you can't miss more than 3 meetings or you're off, and you got to run the meeting. So anybody want to talk about that? Because I didn't lay it out on here. I wanted to leave it up to you guys to talk about it and see who's interested.
Well, I spoke to Bruce about it, and I was concerned that he has the most knowledge about how it runs, and it is very complex. And he's done a fantastic job with it. I can see why he wants a break. I'm hesitant to volunteer for it because I don't know that I could do the job that he does. I told him I'm willing to help him if he wants to stay on it, but then I was thinking, who's got the most youngest kids? Mine are all grown, and I think whoever's got the youngest and most numerous children.
Well, if I weren't here, it might
be
work,
good on
but it's not working. There's a lot, Bruce has built that program up substantially. I hate to see anything lost that he's made on it.
I agree.
So, and I don't know who could keep up with it, but it's a strong committee, and it's a tough job. But there's got to be a channel of communication.
Basically, this is a hard decision for me. I've done it for 5 years. We've gone through a tremendous amount of growth. We've got it where the programs are self-supporting now, where they were heavily subsidized before. It's still the most affordable game in town. But you get stale, and it's a tremendous amount of activity in a few months. You bring 50, 75 people on and do stuff in a few months, and you can't please everybody. And, frankly, I think it's a misunderstood part of the budget. You and I have talked today. People think that the budget includes the library. They forget that it's $260,000 for the library is in the Culture and Rec budget. They forget that the $150,000 is buildings and grounds in there. There's like nothing, there's very little left for recreation. And yet it's, and as I've told you today, I feel like I go through more aggravation to get anything done with rec compared to other things. And maybe it's me, but I'm tired, and I'm not tired of rec. I'm very proud of rec. But I'm tired of. I think the way it's been treated.
Can we support you better as a board?
I don't know. I mean, if you don't understand it, if you don't have a reason to go to the activities once in a while, if you don't have a reason to, the concerts or something. It was a real eye-opener to me when the events coordinator came in here and the questions that the board asked. Rec is something that improves the quality of life in Rhinebeck. I was talking to Sue Crane today up in Red Hook. She's the supervisor up there, and she said, "You have a huge program." And for her to recognize the little Rhinebeck has a huge program is I was talking about the dog park though, but we were talking about the other things. I think maybe it's better for the town if I don't do it this year. Maybe I take a year off. And it's a lot of work. There's no question about it. It's a tremendous amount of work. And there's a good committee. They have some good ideas. But again, I think it's not getting the representation that it needs, the positive, whatever the word is, image that it deserves. And I think maybe somebody else should do that. So.
Bruce, I think far as I'm concerned, I think you've done a very good job. I have driven by and even stopped at summer concerts on the hill by the rec area. I was here on Saturday night for part of a concert. So your efforts really are appreciated. We know that a lot of work is involved, and when you're dealing with a lot of people, there's a lot of aggravation, and the fact that at budget time, we want to cut everything if we possibly can, but I certainly have not heard any criticisms of the content of the rec program. We certainly follow your recommendations.
Well, let me give you one of the examples. The refund policy. Gina and I talked about that. We went through 4 iterations of the rec refund policy. On other things, we've been able to sit, work it out, 2 of us get together, wordsmith it, and we move on. That took 3 months, 4 months to do. It was a minute thing, but it's something, it's like, and I'm venting, I'm sorry for people at home. The skate park. Skate park, we created a capital plan over a year ago. We still don't have a skate park capital plan. So the money that's been put into the skate park is losing interest. Now, I know it's a tiny amount of interest,
Why don't we have a capital plan?
because there's more than just the board supporting rec. There's other facets in the town that don't support rec. And so I'm getting tired of that. I'm getting frustrated by it, and it just doesn't seem like a good use of anybody's energy if somebody else can make it go smoother. I'm all for efficiency.
No, I just don't think that there's anyone that could make it go smoother than you, Bruce.
But-
That's
Bruce is
the-
done.
But the town should not be dependent on Washburn for recreation. The town should be, there was nobody there that taught me how to do it when I came in. And we went through a lot of issues. The people either, I mean, we're talking about stuff, we're arguing about whether we have our name with stuff, and this is a tremendous amount of work. Some of these other things you meet once, twice a year, but we're going to argue about those things. But the thing that's the most amount of work is, I'll say that with any of these things, people aren't willing to step up to. And if you help me do it, if you're more positive towards it, if you promote it, if you contribute in a positive way, but if you don't know anything about it, then you're no help to the program. And I don't think the board knows anything about it. And so that's me. I'm not educating you somehow, but
Wait, I'm going to interrupt here because we all have different interests, and
Yeah.
I've spent a tremendous amount of time trying to get this town hall compliant with technology and the website, and we're part-time, almost volunteer board, yet the amount of time, I know you spend a phenomenal amount of time. I'm working almost, full-time at this job. So it's hard to carry a torch and be enthusiastic about every single aspect. We can't, We have families, we have to make money other ways. 25 hours a week, 30 hours a week spent on town board business is a lot of time for who we are and what we're elected to do. And speaking for myself, I'm honored, and happy doing it, but you can't pay attention to everything, Bruce. That's why we need to split it up.
And Bruce,
This is-
also, I'm a huge fan of rec, and all of my kids did go through it and utilize it. And there were years of my life that I was there all summer, every summer, for an extended period of time. And it is a tremendous program. It's a great asset for our town. It's a great complement to our town that we're able to supply that for our residents. And maybe you haven't gotten the support, both vocally and visibly, that you deserve from the board. And maybe that filters down to the public as well. But maybe we can change that. I mean, I'm willing to help.
He's burnt out. He needs a break.
Well, let me suggest this. If Bruce is willing to continue, perhaps we can donate either Gina or Tom to help him, and we can sit on both of them. Would you be willing if
Don't do it.
somebody else steps forward, Bruce,
Do
and
it.
to work with you?
Putting a lot of pressure on him in a public situation. It's,
Look, we're not going to resolve the whole liaison tonight anyway, so I think.
Yeah, we're not, but, you know, I've run out, you know, after 5 years, you kind of figure out where things work and things don't work. And you also figure out that, as an example, we have a pool house that is, the foundation of it is rotting away, and we've known that for years. All right, and in this environment, we're not going to spend money on fixing that pool house. But, you know, it's something we need to do. Now, we have to start prioritizing, well, I'm going off into intergalactic, but we need to maintain that infrastructure as well as the roads and the boiler, which is going, we all know that. So, you know, it's got to get its fair shake, and we've been cutting it like crazy. I don't know of any other place that's been hacked, that, you know, has been cut back so much, and yet it's continued to grow. We added an extra week of camp. We added different programs. We've diversified. We've done a bunch of different things, and we brought in more revenue, and so you've got an improving business trend. You know, cost to expense, cost to revenue thing, and I want to see that someplace else. I want to see that in other departments, and I don't want to spend all my time in something like this. That's why I'd like to work someplace else, be involved in something else to get the efficiency going there, because some things just seem to be slowly growing.
Is that infrastructure for the pool house in the capital improvement
Yeah.
plan? Okay.
But, you know, there's more to it. There's much more. There's the physical aspects of it, and then there's the programmatic part of it. You know, it's a lot, and I just don't think that
you know,
the rest of the board understands that, so.
this board, sure.
Well, not right now.
No.
Not after the board's done with it. Yeah. You were saying something?
Just saying that we're a part-time board. We're all functioning as portion of a town manager here. And we do a tremendous amount of work. And it's, Bruce is out mowing fields. Joe's writing local laws and resolution. He got our affordable, workforce housing thing off the ground. It's a tremendous, it's not just attending 2 meetings a month, it's attending 2 meetings a month and working on, 4 or 5 huge side projects. So
Well, like as an example, the dog park law, right? That was one. I'm not an attorney. I lifted that from LaGrange. I'm shameless with that. We worked on it, and we sent it over to Pam for final review, okay? Now, there's no support here for that.
what do you mean there's no support? I don't understand what you mean.
We're doing those things. We're doing the stuff that would normally be done by somebody else.
But
The board voted in favor of it. And
Yeah, but
allocate
I'm on
$5,000.
Elizabeth's point that we're doing all these different things. We're generalists. We'll jump in any place. And all I'm trying to tell you is, I'd like to see somebody else jump in on the rec one, because it's a pretty deep
We
pool.
can't even find citizens to come forward and populate our committees. So, maybe things, if you're trying to build the pavilion as a barn raiser and no one comes forth to barn raise with you, are you going to do it by yourself?
You did.
Well, I mean the new pavilion.
Oh, the new pavilion, yeah.
You know,
The other one you did.
I mean,
All right, shall we, you want to wrap this up tonight with this, or hold it over?
Yeah, I think we have to hold it
Hold this
over.
one. Every-
Just one suggestion, I do think we need a liaison for the transfer station. Although we privatized it, we do need somebody looking at that and having the operator come in to see if we can get the extra day.
Joe,
So-
you want that?
So you would take the buildings and grounds connection that's responsible for that takes care of it, and, routinely coordinates with them on snow removal, dumping, and things like that. You would take that away from me?
No, not at all.
Is that where you're going?
Indeed, I was
No, would
gonna
you be
suggest that you stay with the transfer station, because you're the most knowledgeable.
Well, the definition of the buildings and grounds includes that.
Oh, okay, I didn't, that passed me by, that's fine if that's part of it. Then we don't have to add a liaison.
Okay, so we'll assign the mayor to recreation as the liaison to the, just kidding you, Mayor.
the mayor?
Yeah. He's in the back.
Thanks, Jim.
We'd be better equipped.
All right, so we'll hold over rec till next meeting.
Well, I'm happy with all my assignments, so thank you. And,
Okay. Is there any further, anybody else, by the way?
well, have we made any changes? Do we have to direct anything to the clerk? I mean, there seems to have been a little swapping here. Did you get it?
I think he's got that.
Waterfront and zoning's going to me.
I have that.
Right, and hopefully building is coming back to me, the building department.
Well, I don't know, was that agreed upon, or
We talked about it.
is there, well,
Again, we're holding it over, subject to further discussion among interested parties.
we'll keep building department and recreation held over. How about that?
I didn't hear what you
We're
said.
we're holding over building department and recreation.
Right.
Okay.
And what about safety inspection is okay, that's building department.
Well, that's, yeah.
Zoning enforcement, the ZEO. Gina, you,
That's currently, I've been doing that.
Right.
We've had quite a few meetings with different issues.
right, I think Gina ought to stay with that.
Okay,
Do
are
you
you,
have concerns about it, Bruce?
I
Well-
think there's some issues that are going to be popping, right? They're more personnel related.
Uh-huh.
Are you comfortable with those? Okay.
Jeannie, you've got a lot on your plate.
Well, I'm trying to take waterfront to give Bruce some, and my other ones are not, very time demanding.
Okay.
Waterfront isn't either. It's one meeting a month, 3 or 4 weekends a
Okay,
year.
so I'm okay with taking that over for you if that's helpful for you.
Fine.
For there, okay. All right, any further? All right, so motion and second, recreation and building inspector are held over till the next meeting, okay? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Okay, moving on to, oh, do you have a comment? Do you have a comment?
We're gonna change
about
this, like zoning, Board of Appeals, that's going back to Gina.
You wanted that, huh?
Wait,
Did you want that?
that's just what I have now.
Yeah, we talked about that. All right. You have all that, right, John?
I didn't get the zoning board of appeals.
That will return to Gina. You want that, right?
I could see it being and
Oh, that I got, yeah, I got that. Waterfront and ZBA, yeah, I got that.
Okay.
NZEO.
And ZEO? Okay,
That's just what I have now.
all right.
Could you send out a draft, John, as to where we think we are?
Item 9 for the agenda, 39 is a resolution approving the petty cash funds. So that's on tab 21.
Motion?
Second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that's so moved. Item 40 is the salary schedule for 2013, and that's tab 23, 22.
Motion.
Second?
Any discussion on that?
I checked it, and to the best of my ability, it looks correct.
I sent an inquiry to Shelley about the or the.
It's part of the deputy clerk's salary, is my understanding.
But the cemetery clerk and the sewer clerk are not part of the office manager's salary. So
But she
I don't
does it.
understand the logic
I don't either.
of not combining them.
Well, I don't either, but she does the duties.
Right, so they should be listed with the person, with the primary position, I believe.
Do you want to amend this to that?
Well, I think I think people need to know that,
What the
there's.
total salary is?
Yeah, I think people are entitled to know that, and I think people don't realize that of all these 2 pages of positions, there's only,
4 people.
well, yeah,
Yeah.
there's many less people
Yeah.
than it looks like here.